Moses continues in Matthew, but as touching the resurrection of the dead, as touching on, right? Like he's speaking about this subject. Mark, and as touching the dead. Matthew, but as touching the dead. Mark, and as touching the dead. That they rise. I am going to say the resurrection. But as touching the resurrection of the dead. Not as touching the dead. Like physically I'm going to lay my hands on dead things or dead people from Mark. But as touching and as touching Luke. Now that the dead are raised. I want to go with now because he answered that subject and he's going to a new subject. So he would say now. Now as touching the resurrection of the dead. The dead is all three. Are raised. That they rise. I think I can have now as touching the resurrection of the dead, and also the words that they rise, or that they are raised from Luke, simply by adding the word and after the dead. Now as touching the resurrection of the dead, and that they are raised. I didn't use the and at the beginning of Mark. I went with now from Luke. So I have that and. I think I'll go with are raised, just because there's two words, and that would mean that I leave off only one word, rise. Matthew, have you not read? Mark, have you not read? Luke, even Moses showed at the bush when the Lord... Okay, so have you not read? That needs to be in there. Have you not read? So that's Matthew and Mark. The name Moses isn't even here in Matthew. It just says, that which was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac. So it doesn't mention where. Mark says where? In the book of Moses. And Luke says who? Moses showed you at the bush. I think it'd be a stretch to have it twice. In the book of Moses, even Moses showed you at the bush. Have you not read in the book of Moses how even Moses showed at the bush? No, I think I like the way Mark has it the best. He's saying where. Have you not read in the book of Moses how in the bush God spoke to him? Yeah, because I don't even agree with what Luke says. Moses showed at the bush. I guess Moses wrote it down. That could be how Moses showed it, but it was God explaining this. Moses didn't really show this except for writing it down. I like the way Mark says, in the book of Moses, how in the bush God spoke to him saying. It's God's words. That's what matters, not the fact that Moses wrote it down. And if you want to say Moses did write it down, I mean, it says that here in Mark anyway, in the book of Moses. So I'm going to go with Mark. That which was spoken to you by God. God spoke to him. Maybe I can put Matthew first. That which was spoken to you by God. In the book of Moses. how in the bush God spoke to him. I guess I could. How at the bush, when he calls the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oh, wait a minute. When Moses, calls the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I don't remember Moses saying that. I remember God saying that. Exodus 3:6. Exodus 3. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He, capital H, God said this. Even Moses showed the bush when he calls the Lord, the God of... Yeah, that's not what happened. So I don't want to put that. At the bush. God spoke. Okay, that's what I'll say. At the bush, God spoke to him, saying, I am the God. Okay. So I can still put Matthew first. That which was spoken to you by God. And before saying, I'm going to add from Mark now, in the book of Moses. In the book of Moses, how, I could put even in the book of Moses. Or I could say in the book of Moses, how even at the bush. I could say that too. I'll say even at the bush. Moses, I'm going to say, is both Mark and Luke, because the name is there in Luke. Not in the bush, at the bush. At is Luke. The bush is Luke. Mark. Not in Matthew. Just says, God spoke to you saying, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so Mark and Luke. The bush. There. Luke, when he calls the Lord. But then again, it's not Moses that calls him the Lord. It's God who says this about himself. God spoke to him saying, I am. When he calls the Lord the God. God spoke to him. I could say Lord God. The Lord God spoke to him. Yeah, I could do that. Saying. That's from Matthew. Both Matthew and Mark. Saying. I am is in Mark. The am is actually in italics in Mark. Only Matthew has the am. I is both Matthew and Mark. Now all three, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.